Hey guys, there's only one cookie left. Who wants it? Idiots.
Pirate Panda!
Oh.
Live from Studio 3, and then heavily edited for content, it's Bucco Banter. Introducing your hosts, originally from somewhere near Newcastle and now being a good husband and father when he's not running off by himself to PNC Park, it's Fred Rossano. A Pittsburgh Pirates fan since before he was born and still residing in his parents' basement when he's not sleeping in the Pirates clubhouse, it's Matthew Peaslee. Finally, he may look like a piece of plastic on a stick, but he has a life of his own and he's the real expert on Bucco Banter. It's Pirate Panda!
Welcome back to Bucco Banter. As usual, my name is Fred Rossano, and my cohort in crime is
Matthew Peaslee, as usual.
Well, Matt, a lot of good news over the last few days here. Quite a bit of a difference in the team. There, I think that currently 9 or 10 out of 12?
I think 11 out of 13.
11 out of 13. Mm-hmm. And it starts with the, both actually, is pitching and the hitting. Why don't you take over for the hitting?
Yeah, everything's been coming together. You know, watching a game this past week on the West Coast trip, San Diego, San Francisco, I think it might have been one of the last San Francisco games. Pirates are down early. I think they're down 2-0, but I still had confidence that they were going to rally back from that. You know, early in the season when they struggled to get anything across the board, one run was hard to come by, but I knew a big inning was coming, and it came. They scored 4 runs in the one inning, hit after hit, and it's contagious throughout the lineup. And
they say, hitting's contagious, just like good pitching's contagious.
And it starts with Andrew McCutchen, who has the way he's played over this past month. And I mean, he was the National League Co-Player of the Month last month, and he's raised his batting average over 100 points from when he started the month of May till now. He's going to be hitting 300 pretty soon after starting 175.
Yeah, he was really low there for a while. But I don't know if it was in the atmosphere or the surroundings in San Francisco, but it seemed like he was just crushing the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, you could hear it. I mean, he was just crushing it.
Hitting it to all fields, hard hits, and it carried throughout the lineup. And I'm confident with almost any hitter out there right now. Pedro Alvarez, who we were kind of down on in the last episode.
He's been going the opposite way a lot.
Hitting the opposite way. And
beating the shifts.
Yeah, good power still. I mean, he's still going to strike out. He's still going to go 0 for 4 a couple nights a week, but he's coming through with some nice hits.
He's around 250, I think, somewhere around there. But
Jordy Mercer has been a pleasant surprise this past week, back-to-back games of solo home runs. And
I saw somewhere where he was batting under 200. He didn't get over 200 until a certain date. I think it was June 2nd, and that was the exact same date that he went over
last year.
As last year, he got over 200.
Yeah, the same start as last year. I mean, he really caught fire around this time of year last year and ended up having a really good season at shortstop. But now you think that he's going to lose his starting job to Jung Ho Gong. But what's been real nice about the lineup is you could plug players in almost anywhere. Gong at third, shortstop second, Josh Harrison at third, second, or right.
Yeah.
I mean, Gregory Polanco's been struggling a little bit. Starling Marte's 0 for his last 20, I believe. And they gave him a rest in that last game in San Francisco.
And Tabata came in there and did a nice job.
Right, that's
2 big hits for him.
Oh, you're confident with almost anybody. And Sean Rodriguez comes in to pinch hit or play the last 3 innings of a game, and
solid.
He'll get a hit. So almost anybody on this team can deliver at any time, and that's why they've been on such a hot streak.
I think we touched on it the last time a little bit of they went into the offseason with the idea of improving the bench, and I think they've done it dramatically, with especially with Sean. And I forgot Corey Hart hasn't played for like
Right.
2 weeks.
His last start was May 16th, and he's gotten a few pinch hit appearances here and there, but I mean he'll almost be expendable at this point. Where,
but he's more solid. I'd rather have him up there as a pinch hitter
than the starting lineup.
Yeah.
But it's nice that you could put Tabata in the starting lineup, and he might get a hit or two, or Sean Rodriguez could play somewhere. And yeah, it's the depth on the bench is nice, and when the starters produce, they're a scary team. That's the team that we thought they would be offensively. That first month of the season, we said, well, it's a big surprise that the offense isn't delivering, but now that they are, and it's the team we thought they were. But it still all good. You can't win if you don't have good pitching, and we've also got good pitching in this streak.
Their pitching has really come around, too. They made a couple changes with Morton coming back, and he's just been lights out. A ground chuck, classic ground chuck. And he's done really well. I've said it before. When he's healthy, he can just be unhittable. I mean, he's hittable, but he gets everybody hitting the ground balls.
Yep.
And it's just a lot of it is him just staying healthy.
I remember we were watching that exhibition game in Philadelphia here. I think we were both here watching that and just saw Morton blow up. He couldn't get out of the first inning.
It was awful.
And we thought, he's going to go on the DL just because he stinks. But he went on the DL because something was obviously wrong with him. Mm-hmm. He's gotten those kinks worked out. His delivery looks okay. And this is the guy we saw 2 years ago who earned his spot in the rotation, and he's pitching well.
He's done real well in his first two outings. The rest of it, Burnett's come down a little bit over the last couple games. Liriano's he had that one bad outing, but he's been solid since that. And Garrett Cole's just been phenomenal.
He's developed into an ace.
He's really turned into a stud pitcher. The only downside is you have the roller coaster with Jeff Locke. He's just a horrible performance in the last, and you could tell that Clint Hurdle and the rest of the staff were not too happy with his performance there. But he was
seems like he's going to get one more chance.
But it's the patience is running thin. It was sort of like things with Alvarez last year that he was doing wrong, and who knows? Maybe it'll be Worley going in there, somebody else going in there. But overall, the middle relievers have turned it around too. Mm-hmm. They sent down Liz, or I don't even know what his status is.
He cleared waivers, so he's been outright to Indy. So
it was good.
So he's on it. And Clint Hurdle thought that he wouldn't clear with waivers. He thought somebody would go for him. So it's good that he can figure out some issues in AAA.
They saved the money on that from that standpoint of not having to eat that contract. But and then the end of it there, I know Hughes has had a couple of shaky outings. But
Rob Scahill too. But
yesterday was kind of a bad one. But Melanson and Watson have just pretty much been rock solid again. Melanson comes in there and is a little bit sometimes has at least a couple guys on base, but overall
he gets been getting the job done. 16 saves, I think, and it's everything. There's one weak spot on this team. It might be the bullpen because not every reliever we're sure of, but everything's clicking right now, and they're still on the road and. Hopefully they're coming home pretty soon, and they're going to have a good month of June. I looked at the schedule. We play the Brewers, the Reds, the White Sox a couple times. So it's not we're not going up against the best teams.
Stop. These are major league teams.
Yeah, but,
I don't want to hear that.
But if there's a time to pounce, it's now.
Yeah, but you could also say from the other standpoint of a lot of times they play better against the better competition. Yeah. But, we'll see.
And the Reds always seem to have our number no matter. Those are always competitive series.
Well, so did the Brewers. And now the Brewers are just really. But who knows what happens in a particular game? You're only as good as your next day's starting pitcher. But looks like good things ahead. Hopefully, in the next few weeks here, they looks like they've turned the corner, and a lot better things coming our way.
Good things ahead on Bucco Banter also, so stay tuned for our next segment.
Oh, yeah. Matt and Fred, it's time for a new segment on Bucco Banter called 3 for 3. And take it away, Matt.
Yes. Thank you, Pirate Panda. We're going to take it away with 3 for 3, and leading off is my first one, Kutch is cool. And if we knew that all along, that he just personifies what it is to be a Major League Baseball player. But the nation really took notice last week when he gave his batting gloves and fist bump to the fans in San Diego. And what made it more was just the reaction of the kids. They're going to remember that for the rest of their lives. And baseball this year has really talked about bringing baseball back to the youth of America. That right there shows you that, that there are kids out there that still care about baseball and they still have heroes. And Kutch is just an awesome guy. And he did that not even know. I mean, he probably didn't even know that there was a camera on it when he did that. And it's probably not the first time he's given batting gloves away like that. But to see it caught on camera and the emotion that the kids had was beautiful.
It was spectacular. No doubt about it. My first is Lambo In Limbo. And I think he had something wrong with his foot. And I haven't heard anything much about it. I don't even know if he's on rehabbing, but it goes without saying that you have to seize the opportunity when you get it, and he really hasn't.
Last year or this year,
and I mean, how many more chances? I mean, it's sort of like Jose Tabata, but at least Tabata this year is doing a little bit better than he has in the past. And I blame part of the Lambo problem on our director. I hope he's listening in right now, because when we were at Pirate Fest, he had bothered to interrupt him while he was preparing to do another interview, and he said, "Can we get a picture?" And the director was trying to be funny at the time, so he thought, take a picture with my son and him. And so the director handed him the camera and said, "No, get a picture of the two of us."
That psyched him out.
He did. Yeah, I think it did. It shocked him a little bit. And since that time, spring training he just couldn't. You could see him. He's just out of it.
Yeah.
I think it had some sort of an effect on him, and he hasn't recovered from it.
Yeah,
so
he probably haunts him at night, I'm sure.
Probably did. Take it away. Next,
number two, Melancon is fine. We touched on this in our opening segment. He's got 16 saves. I think that's fourth or fifth in all of the majors. The leader in saves has 19. So he's definitely a good closer. All season long, they said, when's he going to blow? When's it going to happen? Should we pull him now from the closing role? Do we put Watson in there? And no, he's gotten the job done. I like this against San Francisco the other day. Pirates had a 4-run lead in the ninth inning. Then they put Rob Scahill in, and Rob Scahill loads the bases and gets in some trouble. Then they bring in Melancon, who gets the job done just like that. Faces two batters, and gets it and cleans it up before anything bad does happen. So he'll be fine. He may not have a 103-mile-per-hour fastball like Aroldis Chapman, but he's doing enough to get saves, and you're confident with him closing the door.
Bottom line, yeah. My second one is rotating days off, and this has really worked to the Pirates' benefit. You talked about it a little bit earlier about rotating Gong and Harrison and Polanco and Rodriguez, Mercer, and Walker, and it's really helped. I think all of them and people, sometimes like to see those guys in there, especially when they're doing really well and keeping them in the lineup. But it's at the same time as you start getting into the heat of summer, I think it's going to work to their benefit of giving those guys a day off, because it doesn't. Gong was in a little bit of a slump there,
right,
and he came up with a big hit the other day, but. I think it's worked wonders, and that goes back again to the solid bench that you can do that. If you didn't, I can't even remember Nix, and who was the other guy last year?
Jason
Dave
Nix
Martinez. Was it Dave Martinez?
Michael Martinez.
Michael Martinez.
Yeah. You're like, where do they come from? And then, who knows where they are now?
But I think it's going to work really well for them as far as giving those guys one day off and throw in. Kutch in there too.
Yeah, he'll get some time off, well-deserved time off to fix him up. And I read somewhere that Gong is used to playing only like 4 days in a row in Korea. He said that.
I think 118 games total.
So he's used to getting rest, and if they can provide him with that rest now, which they are, he'll be able to produce at the highest level. My last one is loose lefties losing. I wanted to get alliteration there with the L's. It has loose lefties losing. Yeah, that's it. So we've talked about it last week about some of our players that can't hit left-handed pitching, and you said, "Oh, just throw them out there. We'll see what they can do." But Pedro still struggles against left-handed hitting. He's 2 for 19 against left-handed
Now they're doing
hitters.
it with Polanco.
Polanco's 4 for 26 against left-handed pitching.
I don't care.
Neil Walker, as a left-handed hitter, is 4 for 31.
Okay, now 2 years ago, they were saying he shouldn't bat left or right-handed anymore. Last year, he did great batting right-handed. It was almost like a 300 average.
Yeah.
Now this year, he's having trouble again. Do you stop batting him against right-handers again, or start having him right-handed?
Maybe. You look at the tape and see what you could. I was looking at tape of Jordy Mercer's swing. I know he's a right-handed hitter, but his swing was a lot different this year as opposed to last year. Maybe Neil switched something up with his left-handed hitting, and his hands aren't the right place. But Polanco coming up through the minors, it didn't matter if it was a right-handed pitcher or a left-handed pitcher.
That's what I'm
he was
saying.
hitting.
That's what I'm
but
saying.
The major league is a whole different level than AAA. So there's something in there.
It goes back. You can't have a guy that's going to be. Well, I'll give the benefit of the doubt with Polanco there, but you can't have a bona fide, solid, everyday player platooning. Do you agree with that? You can't.
No, that's why Pedro's not platooning. Pedro's
That's only because they don't face that many lefties.
Right, and but would you feel? I'd rather see Pedro out there against the lefty than Corey Hart in the starting lineup.
Oh, yeah,
anyway.
that's true, too. But then they put in Rodriguez.
But the fact is that they still struggle against it. And, yeah, I guess you can't – there's nothing you can do except throw them out there and see what they can do.
Well, right now,
shows.
I'll give you this, that they're doing well with that rotation we've seen, and it's working well. But I still think that eventually a guy like Polanco has to bat against left-handers.
Yeah, and he's got to come through, too. Last year when he first came up, we said, this guy's not going to – he's going to screw up eventually, and he's – in the slump that he's in now, but something's got to come through where he connects again.
My last is catch them cards.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I think that obviously the organization is a good organization. Every year in and year out. How do they do this? Without Adam Wainwright
or Matt Adams, they're one of the best hitters,
and they continue. They're having one of those years, it seems like, no matter – I think that they're phenomenal at home. They've only lost, 5 games or something.
They've only lost 18 games total. They still got the best record in baseball.
Just very, very good at home and away, coming back. How many I saw a stat. They've won second most games coming from behind, 17 or something. I know 3 of those were in that Pirates series.
Right, those were 1-1 games and
back
tough.
crunchers.
The Pirates only have 1 win when they're behind after 7 innings. We still don't have a walk-off win.
No, they don't. I think, but overall the Cardinals just are. I don't know how they do it. Maybe they'll have to run into a cold streak, but
I would think they're going to have to. Every team goes through that, and they haven't gone through that yet. But there's got to be a streak where they do that. I mean, the Pirates were able to catch the Cubs in this recent hot streak of theirs, but the Cardinals are still right there with them. They're 8 of their last 10 wins.
Yeah,
we can't gain any ground on them.
I think they said they gained 2 games on them out of that 10, or what did you say, 12?
At least they're chipping away, at least.
Yeah.
I think that the Pirates play the Cardinals again head-to-head July 8th, 9th, 10th. So I remember 2 years ago, that was a big series in July for battle for first place, and it's going to be that too. I mean, maybe if the Pirates can get between 2 and 3 games behind them by
that's
July 8th.
That's still about a month away. We've got time to make that up. Maybe that'll be the series where we get back into the.
It's because we're playing against lesser competition.
All right.
It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. It also doesn't hurt if you don't stop watching Bucco Banter.
Because we have another exciting segment, so stay on the edge of your seat. Well, Matt, it's time for that most popular segment, Ask the Experts, but I don't know where the questions are.
Oh.
I don't know where the questions are.
Oh.
Question number 1.
Whoa. Thank you, Jonathan. Question number 1 to you, Fred. Is manager Clint Hurdle pulling his starters too early? Sent in by Brenda of Adina.
Yes and no.
Okay.
I guess that would be a no.
Okay.
I know he even gave himself the blame for that one where he took out Liriano, and he said he took him out too early.
Was that in San Diego?
The only thing I don't like is, I think with Burnett you would have to do that.
Okay.
I don't think you need to do that with Garrett Cole, and you don't need to do that with Liriano. Maybe you still need to do it with Morton, but overall, I mean, the problem is when you keep pulling your starters like that over the course of the year, your relievers are going to get worn out. You can't keep them. Then they complain because the relievers, people complain that the relievers should be able to come in there, every night. You can't do that. Well, like when he gives them a break, usually if they come in and he says stressful innings or whatever, if they come in 2 games in a row, he'll give them the third one off. But you can't really continue to stress that relief core out. You have to get some innings out of your starters. Yeah. They have to at least. I don't think they don't even have they even pitched into the 9th inning this year.
There was that game. There was that game at home where Garrett Cole went to the 9th, but they ended up pulling him.
Yeah, after 8 1/3 or 8.
Yeah, so nobody's had a complete game yet.
And somewhere I know their pitch count gets up to 100 or so, and I don't know. I mean, it's like it's locked into their minds that you can't have a guy go over 110 pitches, and now it's locked into my mind too that way. But I don't know. It's a tough decision, but I think sometimes he does pull them, especially when they're cruising. I mean, I think the Liriano game he only pitched had 85 pitches or something, and it just really wasn't a need for it. But he, like I said, he blamed himself.
Should we get in? Do we have another question? Is there one more?
Question number 2.
Ooh. Thanks again.
Jonathan.
Oh, yeah, Jonathan.
I saw the Mets are considering going to a 6-man rotation when a couple of their young pitchers come back from injuries. Will the Pirates ever consider this? Lou of Newcastle.
I don't believe so. I think Glenn Hurdle is fairly traditional with the setup of the rotation and all. And I think another thing, too, I don't think a veteran guy like AJ or even Francisco Liriano would be on board with that at all. I think they want to pitch as much as they can. They're not going to deal well with an extra day of rest. I'm sure Vance Worley would love it. If Locke still has his spot in the rotation, I'm sure Vance Worley would love to have a 6-man rotation.
Time's ticking on that.
Yeah, but it depends on what Locke can do here. Vance very well might be back in the 5-man rotation. Even for spot starters that come up, you can't use Brandon Compton because he's hurt for the year, but he pitched a lot in those situations last year.
They said they would. And the guys down there, they would Sadler and
he's been struggling in AAA.
Yeah, I saw he got bombed the other day.
But
and
Clayton Richard's been pretty lights out in AAA, so he might get a chance to do that coming up here pretty soon. But that would
then he's left-handed, right?
Yeah, which is a positive. I think that would only be in place of Locke if he struggles in his next start or two. I don't see the Pirates ever doing a 6-man rotation.
I think it depends on the rotation itself. Like the Mets have Matt Harvey coming back from his arm problems, and they have our Bartolo Colon,
who's solid,
who's like 100. Yeah, but how many innings can he pitch?
Right.
So I think what the Mets were thinking is that it overall eases the innings of the young guys, and it eases the innings for the older guys too.
Yeah, because they have that mix of Bartolo and Syndergaard and DeGrom, who were rookies.
And you don't want to overdo them. And I think there's another guy, Wheeler, but I don't know if he's gone for the year or not. But I think it's more of dependent upon the pitching staff itself, whether it's the makeup of it is more or less maybe young guys and old guys. Like if you had a couple Burnetts and a bunch of young guys, say, there were a bunch of Jameson Tyons, 2 or 3 guys in their first or second year, then you would consider it. And I you know what? I think it's actually a good idea. I mean, if it rests those guys over the course of the year and they're strong come August and September, who knows? Maybe something like that would work.
Yeah, something.
Because they've already said that they were going to stop Matt Harvey. whether they were going to give him some rest in between there. So that's their way of giving him rest to a six-man rotation.
And what works for one team may not work for another, like batting the pitcher eighth like the Cubs do. But yeah, it's an interesting thing to consider. And it's an interesting thing for you to consider watching our next episode of Bucco Banter.
Oh, good ending. That's a very good ending.
About a week. So enjoy this.
There should be no consideration. They'll be out there. We got many fan out there.
We had a great episode. Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Jonathan. This was fun.
See you next time on Bucco Banter. Cut. Whoa, 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 whoa. Ready?
Siri, tell Mom this is Jonathan. We are doing important business.
Which mom?
What?
Special delivery.
Ooh.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Oh, we're going to say it
Thank you, Pirate Jonathan.
Okay, that's good.
Defend me.
Did we not? No, seriously. I defended you the last time. You said,
I don't need
defend myself.
I need you, Fred. Jonathan, defend me.
Did we not?